Good morning and welcome to Atlantic Blowout. Atlantic Blowout is a syndicated live program of the network featuring chit-chatting and conversation on special interest topics, news, events and stories through correspondent reports, expert analysis and stakeholder opinions. Today on Blowout, we are going to look at these topics. Oil and gas. Warri Refinery resumes operation, Mele Kyari says. And then on to Anambra State. Police collected 1 million naira to rescue abducted priest. This allegation is by Ebube Monso. On National Assembly, do not expect 2025 budget passage before January 31, Akpabio says. And still on National Assembly, Tajuddin advocates diversification of economy. On local government autonomy, councils to receive direct allocation, starting from next month. On Nnamdi Kanu, IPOB falls Soludo statement on crime. We are open for advert placements, bookings, and commercials. You can connect with us on all our ATN socials, Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network, Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1, and on Twitter, Atlantic TV Net. Watch us live on our website, www.atlanticnetwork.tv. We'll go on a short break. When we come back, we'll delve right into the show. Do not go away. morning and welcome back, and thank you for staying with us. Joining me on Blowout this morning is Young Ayotamono. Young Ayotamono is the State Director, National Orientation Agency, Rivers State. Good morning, Young, and welcome.
Good morning for this very splendid opportunity on the last day of the year. Yes.
To close the year. That is very significant, Young. That is very significant. And how has been your Christmas celebration?
Well, so it's been wonderful. It's a season of sober reflection. And, you know, when we talk about the end of year, you know that people are also thinking of resolutions to make, evaluate what has been achieved, what were the aspirations and what was achieved, and what could still be achieved, because this is actually 11th hour, so it's not closed yet. So many things can happen.
Anything can happen, 11th hour miracles.
So.
Thank you. And I hope the resolutions for the new year, the people taking the new year resolutions are able to sustain it.
Sometimes the resolutions are many, just as the prophecies are many. The prophecies have started coming.
Political prophecies.
Yeah, but some may come to fruition, some may not.
All right, very well. And then on to the story. Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited has announced that the Warri Refining and Petrochemical Company, with a capacity of 125,000 barrels per day, has commenced operations. This development comes shortly after the Port Harcourt refinery began its 60,000 barrel per day operations. The group Chief Executive Officer of NNPCL, Mele Kyari, revealed the news during an inspection tour of the facility on Monday. Kyari was joined by the Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, Farouk Ahmed, among other officials. The Warri Refinery, located in Ekpan, Uwe, and Ubeji areas of Delta State, is a major player in Nigeria's petrochemical industry. It produces approximately 13,000 metric tons per annum of polypropylene and 18,000 MTA of carbon black, catering to the markets in the southern and southwestern regions of the country. The Warri Refinery is one of 4 refineries managed by NNPCL alongside the Port Harcourt Refining Company, comprising of both old and new facilities in Rivers State and the Kaduna Refining and Petrochemical Company in Kaduna State. This milestone underscores NNPCL's commitment to revitalizing Nigeria's refining capacity and reducing reliance on imported petroleum products. Young, what do you make of this story?
Well, it's actually a good news.
Okay.
It's a good news. And, you know, we have always talked about the forces of demand and supply. And part of what has been the narrative is that we have short supply of petroleum products. And our refineries for more than 10 years have not actually worked. If our refineries had worked, then we know that we'll have more supply of petroleum products in the economy. Now that Port Harcourt refinery had begun working, and then Warri Refinery so sooner had also joined, just within this third quarter, within a space of 1 month, if I should say so. It's a sign of good things to come. We'll have more petroleum products. We won't get all this information about landing cost and no landing cost. Definitely there will be some cost associated with it. But then landing cost, looking for foreign exchange by owners of depots, by retailers and so on. All those things will now be taken off, you know, the negotiation table when it comes to pricing. So we expect prices to reduce. We expect that there will be more products, and our expectation is that very soon Kaduna Refinery will also join. So it's a good thing that these things are happening. But there's an important thing that Mele Kyari mentioned.
Okay, go ahead.
That's the group managing director. There's an important thing he mentioned where he said that it's this, what has happened now is will now correct the trust deficit. You know, there's so much trust deficit between government and the people. And somehow you can't also blame the people. For instance,
somehow?
Yeah. they take off of Port Harcourt refinery. You know, the goalpost had continued to shift until we got it right this time. The same for these other refineries.
But when you say the goalpost has continued to shift until we got it right this time, you recall that even the functionality of Port Harcourt refinery has been under question and scrutiny. In fact, it has been controversial for a while now, with accusations coming out that the Port Harcourt refinery is not actually producing. Then another allegation came out that it is only a part of the Port Harcourt refinery that has resumed operations. The other part of it is still moribund. You know, a lot of allegations and counter-allegations. Allegations even coming from the community where the Port Harcourt refinery is domiciled itself, saying that the impression NNPCL is giving Nigerians is not true. What do you make of that?
You know, it's petroleum. It's also a specialized area. Why you say it's producing at some capacity, I can understand. You know, Port Harcourt refinery, there are 2 refineries there. You have the old one, which was established in the 60s, early 60s, and then you have the new one. So one of them is operating. And we are told that that's the one that has 60,000 capacity, 60,000 barrels a day capacity. That one is already producing. So it will be right for us to give them the benefit of the doubts. If anybody is doubting, then go out there, do your own investigation, and let us get a proper analysis, or let us get a proper using the proper indices. Let us get a proper picture of what the situation is. But for now, it's between governments saying one thing. In fact, NNPCL, you know, the government company that is carrying out the operation, as against some of the stakeholders. But if you listen to the Retailers Association, they also tell you that the refinery is producing.
Working.
Yeah, the refinery has started working. The same for Warri Refinery. Melekari told us that the rehabilitation is not totally completed. It's just about 60% that has been completed. But the important thing is that there's a will, you know, and it has started refining and we will succeed.
All right. So to a large extent, now let's move over to the perspective of pricing, when you were very positive that with these 2 refineries now coming into play, that to a large extent is going to reduce pricing, because now, for example, Port Harcourt refinery is inside Port Harcourt, River State. So probably for River State people, they will enjoy lesser cost of fuel, because landing costs and, you know, a lot of even landing costs, and then the cost of logistics, that distance will be taken out and all of that. Now, how positive are you that this will happen?
Yeah,
you know, Dangote refinery, before it started, there were so many projections. You know, Nigerians were so excited, and you know, there were projections about how low the fuel price was going to be. And after Dangote refinery started operations, I mean, a lot of Nigerians were disappointed that, you know, the cost of fuel is still relatively high. So, do you think, to a large extent, that considering that there is, to a large extent, a competition right now, do you think it will change anything?
Like, you know, it's not going to be automatic. Like what we saw with the Dangote refinery.
Yes.
When they started, you know, even the NNPCL almost modeled the situation that we had with Dangote, until Dangote took a very firm stand. You know, being a businessman, and whether I like it or not, it's also there for its own profits. Having invested about $20 billion, it's not a walk in the park to invest $20 billion in a project. So, but at some points, having put his feet down, it came to a point where all parties had to sit down to negotiate. A lot of interventions, and today Dangote is on. But you will also see that during this period, in fact, in the last 1 week, there's also a further reduction of price.
Dangote said he wanted to you know, to extend benevolence to Nigerians during the Xmas season.
There's no benevolence about it. There's no businessman that does business with benevolence.
Well, he premised his reduction on something.
Definitely, profit will still run.
Of course.
Yes. So that is what it is. So you also know that we are talking about an international resource. Whatever they fix here, they also have an eye on what is the price in the international markets. But what we are saying that definitely, as we get more supply, of course, that's the engine of liberalism. As we get more supply, that we expect that meeting demands, we expect that prices will begin to. But that is not all. We are also waiting for more of the modular refineries to get into the show.
You see a possibility of the modular refineries getting into the show?
Yes, yes.
With the way the military is clamping down. And
no, those are not modular refineries.
But you would expect that the government, will kind of, because I mean there have been calls,
yes,
that the government should, come in and to a large extent help these people, streamline them, regulate them to ensure, because how do you, every day we hear in the news, particularly Niger Delta region,
yes,
particularly, in fact, most especially River State, the military struck 10 modular refinery, 10 fire outfits. The next day, we hear another one. In fact, within a period of 2 months, I would say that NAF itself has destroyed over 50.
We have to make a distinction between oil thieves and modular refineries. Yes.
Go ahead.
Modular refineries, we expect that these are licensed business concerns. And, there's also the angle of marginal oil fields that government is withdrawing some of the licenses that have been given that are not operational and also given to other people who
are willing to start.
Yes. So modular refineries, we hope that they will also look in that direction. They have also said they are willing to give licenses to those who want to operate modular refinery. What we expect is that those who are doing some of these things, that they
will now buy the licenses.
Outside the law, that they should be able to put themselves together. If government is not forthcoming, why can't you put yourselves together as cooperatives and see if you can raise the funds, through banks or other means, and also get the licenses.
And you think this licenses, the government, the way the system runs in Nigeria, certain licenses are for certain set of people.
And it's also part of the trust deficit now, that you are now portraying. When you say certain licenses.
But is that not the reality? Is that not the reality? Is it not meant for a set of people? The question would be, will it be accessible for everyday people who may have access to funds to purchase these licenses?
Let's ask.
That's another question.
Yes, let's ask for it. I would say let's actually ask for it. Let them make an attempt first.
Okay, and then let the government turn them down.
Yes, let them turn them down.
All right, very well.
Yes.
And then on to Anambra State. Of Holy Ghost Adoration Ministry, UK, Anambra State, Reverend Father Emmanuel Obima, popularly known as Father Ebube Monso, has said that security in Anambra has broken irretrievably. Obima said this while presenting a priest simply identified as Reverend Father Nonso to his congregation after his release from kidnappers, a week after he was abducted and taken into the forest by gunmen. It was gathered that Nonso was kidnapped on December 17 shortly after his return for the Christmas holiday from abroad where he was studying. For a week, Father Nonso was in the hands of kidnappers. Government could not do anything. It got to a point where I had to use my arsenal to rescue him, Father Ebube Monso said. He continues to say, I called former Governor Chief Willie Obiano and asked him where the trackers he bought during his tenure were, and he said that they were all there. What it means is that we do not have security in this state. May God continue to. Father Ebube Monso continues to say, I opted to lead the operation. I called the Chief Security of Adoration and told him to assemble his men. Let those who have cutlass bring their cutlass, and those who have guns bring it. I will lead the operation myself. When the police saw that I was serious, that was when the police told me that I should not worry that they could rescue him, but that they lack logistics. I had to send 1 million naira to them. This is a state where we have a governor vote, but it is individuals that are now funding security. Let me ask you, Obidema, in the southeastern states, the level of insecurity there, I mean, it's not even appropriately, it's not appropriately carried by the press. Because if the way the press is paying attention to the northern states, if what is actually going on in southeastern states are being, put out there by the press, it will be very, very alarming. And now this is a situation where this conversation is periscoping on the activities of Nigerian police now. A situation where a priest was abducted, and the police is saying that they cannot, rescue him, even though they have full details of where he is, his location. They say they cannot move because they don't have logistics. Collecting 1 million naira for logistics to rescue an abducted priest. What do you make of that?
What the police reaction might be on this subject matter. But again, it brings to the fore some of the issues where people begin to talk about the irrelevance of the states, as an institution. Because a situation where, even for security, which is the primary purpose of government, and the welfare of the people, in this context now, very clearly, where a citizen is being held somewhere, and in fact, his constituency, let me put it that way, had actually approached the police in that state